Another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is how America is moving towards a war economy. All right, so the Pentagon has been in talks with General Motors and Ford to make munitions, drones, and military equipment. All right, so this is what this last happened in World War II when America moved to total war. Their factories that used to make cars were now making tanks. But not only that, but Trump also announced something called the Defense Production Act as of today. And what this does is it basically allows the government to subsidize private corporations in the manufacture of weapons. Okay? So these companies, General Motors, Ford, they can make a lot of money because of this war. That's something to keep in mind. Starting December, Americans who are aged 18 to 26 will be automatically registered for the draft. Okay, so it's very likely that America will soon introduce a national draft and force young men to go fight in the Middle East. Currently, the Pentagon budget is $1 trillion. Next year, it'll be $1.5 trillion, an increase of 50%. Okay? And we can expect that the year after, it might be $2 trillion. More veterans are now being asked to serve longer. Okay? So what we're seeing is that the United States is moving towards a wartime economy. Okay? They're preparing for what we call total war, when an economy moves towards the manufacture of weapons and munitions. All right. Another thing that's been happening that you should pay attention to is the fact that there's very little opposition. In fact, there's no opposition to Donald Trump fighting this war in Iran. You would think that the Democrats, his opponents, would use this opportunity to promote anti-war messages or try to stop him from plunging America into another forever war in the Middle East. Instead, the Democrats are doing as much as possible not to do anything. So recently in Congress, they had a vote as to whether or not to restrict Trump's ability to fight this war, okay? And there were 4 Republicans who did not vote, and 1 Republican who voted, we should restrict Trump, okay? And so this vote should have been 214 to 213 in favor of yes, we will restrict Trump's war powers. But then what happened was that one Democrat, just one Democrat, decides, I'm going to switch my vote to no. So now it becomes 214 to 213. Okay, do you understand? Guys, this is all political theater. Do you understand? It's all theater, meaning that it was already prearranged between the Republicans and Democrats that this resolution would fail. In other words, it may be 2 Republicans voted yes, then 2 Democrats would have voted no. If 10 Republicans voted yes, then 10 Democrats would have voted no. You understand? The Democrats are not opposing this war. They're doing as much as possible to support this war. So the question then is, why is this happening? Why is America moving towards a wartime economy? Why are the Democrats so supportive of this war? And the answer has to do with empire, okay? So this is something called the National Defense Strategy that came out in January 2026. And this is the blueprint for how the Pentagon will fight wars for the next 5 to 10 years. This is a strategy behind the Iran war. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to read certain parts together to analyze how the Americans will strategize about the world moving forward. Okay, so Ivory, could you help me read, please? Thank you.
For too long, the U.S. government neglected, even rejected, putting Americans and their concrete interests first. Previous administrations squandered our military advantages and the lives, goodwill, and resources of our people in grandiose nation-building projects and self-congratulatory pledges to uphold cloud castle abstractions like the rule-based international order. These past leaders neglected and often actively undermined our warfighters' warrior ethos and our military's core, irreplaceable role, fighting, winning, and thereby deterring the wars that really matter to our people. Consequently, President Trump entered office with the nation on the precipice of disastrous wars for which we were unprepared.
Okay, so certain things to keep in mind, okay? Concrete interests first means that we have to think about resources. We have to think about concrete advantages to America. We can no longer think about ideals, okay? Second is the idea of rules-based international order, or the globalists. Before America was fighting wars for their nations, or for Europe, or for Japan, we have to fight wars for America, okay? And the last thing is the idea of undermine our warriors' ethos, okay? Undermine our warrior ethos. What this means is that before, America was bounded by too many rules, okay? What they call rules of engagement. Okay? Or basically, avoiding war crimes. You were not allowed to kill civilians. You needed permission from the United Nations to fight wars. And what this is saying is like, screw that, okay? Screw rules of engagement. We should just fight wars to win wars. That means we kill as many people as we need. That means we do whatever is necessary in order to win wars, okay? So this is what the first paragraph is saying here. It's a new vision of American power. Before, it was about ideals. Now it's about interests. Before, it was about globalism. Now it's about America first. Before, it was about rules of engagement. Now it's about the warrior ethos, okay? Please continue reading, Ivory.
President Trump has decisively changed that, courageously putting Americans first to truly make America great once again. Under his leadership, the United States has the world's strongest, most lethal, and most capable military. Indeed, the most powerful military that this world has ever seen. No longer will the department be distracted by interventionism, endless wars, regime changes, and nation building. Instead, we will put our people's practical, concrete interests first. We will support a policy of actual peace through strength. We will be the sword and shield to deter war with the goal of peace, but ready to fight and win the nation's necessary wars if called upon.
Okay. So the important sentence here is, we will support a policy of actual peace through strength. What this means is that we will be so mighty, we will be so invincible, we will be so fearless that we will instill fear in others. They will be so afraid to fight us, and therefore we'll have peace, okay? So it's the idea of hegemony. Peace through might. Peace through power. We have to demonstrate we are invincible. When people fear us, that's when people will obey us. When people obey us, that's when we'll have peace, okay?
This does not mean isolationism. To the contrary, it means a focused and genuinely strategic approach to the threats our nation faces and how to best manage them. This approach is based on a flexible, practical realism that looks at the world in a clear-eyed way, which is essential for serving Americans' interests. As the national security strategy articulates, this is the common-sense approach President Trump has advanced.
Okay, all right. So this does not mean isolationism. It's about how to best manage them. So the idea here is that America before was engaging too many wars overseas. It was too spread out. America will now be focused on maintaining and protecting its core strategic interests. That means divide and conquer, okay? Divide and conquer, divide and rule. Okay, I'll explain this as we go on. All right, so these are the four strategic interests of the United States, okay? Can you read, Ivory?
We will defend the homeland and ensure that our interests in the Western Hemisphere are protected. We will deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. We will increase burden sharing with allies and partners around the world. And we will rebuild the U.S. defense industrial base as part of the President's once-in-a-century revival of American industry.
Okay, so this is it, okay? This is the plan moving forward. And already we're seeing the Americans are doing this. All right, so we build the U.S. defense industrial base, okay, basically means factories and resources, right? Making sure that America becomes the arsenal of democracy. Its factories produce all the weapons America needs in order to protect its interests as well as protect its allies. We will increase burden sharing with allies and partners around the world, okay? This basically means that from now on, we're not friends. From now on, we're the boss and you do what we tell you to do, okay? From now on, we will order Japan, South Korea, Europe, NATO to do what they must in order to protect our power, and they must follow us. Basically, create a system of vassalage. That's number 2. Number 3 is we will deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. We don't want to destroy China. We don't want to hurt China, but we need China to obey us. And the way to do that is by containing China, strangling China economically, and also promoting Japan, okay? So in the future, China and Japan will balance each other out. And that allows us to rule over them, right? In the future, we America will sell resources, weapons, and financing to both China and Japan as they compete against each other in East Asia. That's how we will contain China. And then the idea of we'll defend the homeland and ensure that our interests in the Western Hemisphere are protected, okay? So basically, this means that the Western Hemisphere belongs to America. We'll do whatever we want in the Western Hemisphere. If you want to come to the Western Hemisphere, you need our permission. If you, China or Russia, you want to come into the Western Hemisphere, you have to get our permission.